Oh, thank you, but I just wanted to ask you which way I ought to go.
Well, that depends on where you want to get to.
Oh, it really doesn't matter. As long as I can...
Then it really doesn't matter which way you go.
The number you have dialed has been changed.
Hi everybody, I'm Chloe and I'm from the class of 2018. So today I'll be sharing with you a new idea that Mr. Koh has come up with. So to kickstart this book club, I'm here to share with you one of my favorite books. I don't really have a favorite book because there are a lot of books out there that I really like, but this is one of the books that really left a mark in my mind since I last read it, and I really hope to share this book with y'all, and I think this is something that will be of interest to you guys. So this book is known as Lovely War by Julie Berry. And the reason why I don't have like a hard copy of this book is because I don't have it and I haven't bought it. So when I first read this book, I read it online as a recommendation from one of my friends on Goodreads. So I looked it up on NLB's website and I went to borrow it. And because I'm always afraid that I won't end up enjoying a book after I purchase the book, and books are not cheap, so I don't really want to waste money and buy a book that I might not be extremely sure that I will like or have a high probability of liking. And at first I had low expectations for this book, but it's something that I ended up really liking and I hope to buy a hard copy from, but as for now I still don't have it. Okay, so moving on to my proper book review. If you don't mind, I'll be referencing off the book review that I read last year, so I'll be summarizing the review that I read because it's a little long, because I like to pen down my thoughts after reading a book, especially if it struck me, and this book definitely did. So the book is premised on these two main characters, a guy and a girl, and the guy is about to get drafted to the war, and just before that he meets the girl. Okay, that's quite cliche, but it's a really well written and well executed, so I think you still should give this book a try. But even if romance isn't really for you, there are a lot of important themes that are both relevant and important that we should learn. And even though this is a fiction novel, the author also references of many real life examples and themes. So the very first one was that how the book provoked a lot of thought in me in terms of how life went on after the war, especially for the people who were involved in World War II, because the war is really what they have always known. They haven't really had a life outside of the war, given that their parents were also involved in World War I, and there's only bloodshed, destruction, hatred, and brutality. But despite all of this, how is it possible that these people managed to forgive, to love, and to move on despite all of this that has happened, given that the entire generation was plagued by war and destruction, but how they managed to regain and go back to civilization was really something that left me thinking, and something that the author also explored. The second thing is on racism. It's about how the Americans tried to bolster the war effort, and they sent a lot of black soldiers down to support the Europeans during the war, not because they were noble, yes, but the intentions of sacrificing this black man was because they felt that the lives of the black men were worth less than those who were white. So this was something that was really sad. But despite the sacrifices of these black men, the countrymen still constantly devalued them and did not see their sacrifices as worthwhile, and still continued to treat them in a discriminatory and harsh manner, which is something that really touched my heart, on how despite all this cruelty against them, even within the country there's lots of brutality and racism and cruelty, which was something that really struck me, on how humankind can be both so amazing in the sense that we can move on from life despite all the suffering that has been brought onto us, but secondly so inhumane in the sense that how despite all these difficulties around us, we can still choose to be cruel in our inner circle. So this is two themes that the book really brought about, and so basically this book really touches a lot on love, justice, and even the arts, and which is something that I really enjoyed because it brought a new perspective. Because all the other books I read on World War II touched a lot on masculinity related issues, mental suffering, and physical pain, but this was something that left me thinking of how people continued to move on from lives after the war and the racism that persists throughout. So I hope you give this book a try, and if you like it, please let me know if you do read the book, and if you don't like it, let's have a nice discussion. So I hope you guys stay healthy and safe during this COVID outbreak.